Yo, what's good, y'all, man? If y'all haven't seen the news already, I am no longer with Fuzey. I have been fired. I was fired by them this morning at around, I think 11 o'clock. So I've come to bring to light Fuzey themselves and what actually happened. So first thing I'm gonna start off with, and I'm gonna try to be as organized as possible as I can with this. But man, this is it's not something that I really want to talk about, but I got to get off my chest and hope you guys understand. Uh, so the reason I was fired is because I did not sign a contract. Now, contracts are typical in a business, but it's atypical whenever I've been there for nearly 3 years. It would have been in 3 years in June, and we never signed anything before. Their reason for this was because they wanted to be more quote unquote business oriented, business like, and they've been a startup for 6 years, or yeah, 6 years. So the reason I didn't sign the contract was because A, I did not understand it, and B, I did not agree with it after I got done reading it, and I told them and explained to them that I would not be doing anything or signing anything until I got with my lawyer. They told us about this with on Monday, this past Monday. They said we need to sign it by Tuesday. I did not sign it by Tuesday because I had not talked to any lawyer or anybody that could clarify what this document meant. I explained that to him, and Brad, who's one of the co-owners, told me that I needed to have it signed since as Tuesday was the deadline. Thursday rolls around, and he's telling me that I need to sign it, and I told him why, and I have questions, and he said get them back to me. So I told him on Friday or Saturday. No, it's Friday. I sent them. I sent them that I had questions on that Wednesday. Not Thursday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. And that Friday, he had told me I need to have it signed by Saturday. And I told him that he sent that in a group chat with me and Adam, who is the other co-founder. And I had told him that I had messaged him 2 days before with no answer. And I have questions, and I'm not signing anything that I do not understand, nor do I agree with. And he said, well, let me know what questions that you have, and I can answer them. So I sent it to him on Friday, and I didn't get an answer back. And then Sunday, which is today, we got signed out of the Fuzey the Fuzey Discord, all the Fuzey socials, right? So I asked the other seller, and I'm like, "What's going on? Did you get signed out too?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did too." So I'm like, "Okay, maybe they're just whatever." But I kind of had a sense that they were kind of gonna use this to kind of fire me anyways. But I didn't think they would do that for reasons that I'm about to say. And because it was something that they never explained to me, like certain things on there. Anyways, the actual contract, the problem was that there was an arbitration in there that basically tell them they can fire me pretty much for any cause, whether it's harassment, racial, and I couldn't do anything about it after that. I couldn't do what I'm doing now, which is making a video, because I could get sued, things of that nature. And it also states in there about an exhibit A, which is supposed to be our page structure, which never was presented. There's also other things in there about, them being strictly like we're strictly independent contractor, but it's not a problem. But I got a base, which I'll explain that later, because this is all important information. So I did not sign it, because why would I, whenever I have questions, right, that never got answered? But look, then again, I got fired this morning around 11 o'clock. He tried to call me, but I got busy. I'm busy. Sunday I'm with my kids, where I was, and yeah. Anyways, so so I was signed out, and basically, he sent me tried to call me, then he sent me a message saying I could just email it to you. But I'm like, that's cool, whatever. He emailed me saying, after careful consideration, this is your last day. I'll pay you Monday. Cool. Now, there's a lot of things that I need to touch on, and I hope you guys stick around and understand my point of view, my side, and what's going on in Fuzey. So the next thing I want to talk about is my first day. All of this context matters as of what I'm about to say. First day at Fuzey. The first week at Fuzey, okay, I made $50. And I had sold, I believe, the third most. So there was other sellers before me. There was 4 of us, I believe, and I think I sold the third most. So I sold a total of $500 and made $50. Okay, this is my first week. I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and my brother and they convinced me to stay, right? And they both said to, thug it out after the first week. Just thug it out, bro. So what I did was put in grind mode. My daughter was just born. Our daughter was just born, and I couldn't go find another job. I needed to handle business. Granted, my girl did have us, but I had to grind. So what I did is basically, with all I had in my tool belt was a price list and cold outreach messaging. There was no training, nothing. There was no brief on how to do things. It was just basically, hey, you're hired and find a way to sell, essentially. And I had to get it out the mud, as is the crazy term. It's the term, get it out the mud. So for a stretch of about 2-ish months, 3-ish months, I was up at 4 or 5 a.m. and didn't go to bed till 11 p.m. Okay, to figure out a method to make sure that I was successful in putting food on the table and a roof above my kid's head and my fiance's head, right? And it was around the second or third month where I started to get around $1,000 paycheck, right? Think about it. For the first 2 months, I wasn't making anything. I was making maybe $250 a week, right? And I started getting to 1,000 after 2 months. Now, this is me working from 4 to 5 a.m. Till 11 p.m., right? And I I realized, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to put in work. It's an entrepreneurial role, right? So I have to put in work, which I understood. I put in work. I'm going to reap the benefits later, right? And so the pay structure is basically this. You have no benefits, right? You get bonuses based on what you sell, right? So if you sell 2,000, you get a $200 bonus. If you sell 3,000, you get a $300 bonus. If you sell 5,000, you get a $500 bonus. If you sell 7.5K, you get a $750 bonus. And this is all on top of commission. And if you sell 10K, you get a $1,500 bonus on top of commission, right? And the other part of that is that you get 5 or 10%, depending if you message the person first within an allotted amount of time. At the time, it was 1 month. So if somebody came in after 1 month, it was 5%. So the person who comes in and takes the lead by tagging their name will automatically get they will get 5%. They don't get 10% of the sale. So to put in perspective, the average person was probably getting around $50 to $100 in paychecks, or maybe $50 to $100 in a whole month. I'm the exception to the rule, guys. I want you guys to understand this. I was the exception to the rule. I was the complete exception to the rule. I was the top 0.001%. It's crazy, right? I was the Elon Musks and everybody else was middle class. Think about it like that. And I'm not saying that to boost my ego, but y'all understand in a second. So I was making that much. Now, whenever I finally got a base after being consistent for 1.5 years, and I only got that because I told them that I might have to leave with my other daughter coming up, and I would need to be paid more, because at that time nothing was happening more. We weren't selling more product, right? I mean, we weren't selling more than the average, right? So if the average person, like I said, was only getting $50 to $100, I was only making $1,000 sales, right? So, and that's if they got 10%. So ideally, right? Ideally, I could not, in good faith, stay at the job without something, right? So they ended up giving me a base pay, which the original base pay was $250. Granted, I had to, like I said, this is years of consistency, and I had to basically go to them and tell them I'm always going to leave. And they realized I was one of their top assets. I still was until I got fired, but and also they gave it to me. They gave it to me. It was like $250 at the time, which is cool. Like I said, it was the first time they ever did it. I respected them for it. Granted, I had to do it myself. I had to go out and do it, get it, right? And that time, I also had brought on my two brothers at that time. So I got hired around June. They got hired around late October. And this is all 2023. October and November, I believe. Now, we all we all were busting our asses, right? Left and right. To, I was giving them what I knew and helped them become successful. And then we all collectively came up with, ideas to be successful. We came up with the selling standards, process for updating customers, and me and my one brother did come up with our terms of service that you guys see now on your order forms, which is why I pretty much know that thing in and out. Anyways, you guys are wondering, like, what is like this, the selling standards, what is the process for updating customers and all that stuff. So selling standards itself is just basically what they should have a minimum of 2K, because at that time we were selling quite a bit, right? We were selling quite a bit. We were the average whenever before us, they were probably selling somewhere between 3 and 5K as a team, right? As a team, right? Per week. And at this time, this was October. I would say probably late October to December of 2023. We were selling probably 10, 12K, right? So we basically doubled the numbers, right? And it was some money that they never seen. And we also talked about updating the prices for that. So we all basically set ourselves as a standard, like, yo, bro, you need to be at this standard if you want to be on this thing, because we were passionate, bro. We found a method. I was working with my brothers and one other person as well. We all agreed doing, like, bro, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, because we had the methods. We just got to keep going, right? We were selling consistently for like 2 months straight, 3 months, and that's a lot of consistency based on what I told you guys. Next, like I said, so I was at averaging 5K myself, so that should tell you the rest. Anyways, the process for updating customers was very, 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 very vague, right? So basically what it was is, you guys purchase, I have a problem with the purchase. You guys purchase, and then you don't get it. We don't talk to you guys until you get that first update. And at one point, we couldn't even it was just, hey, your first update should be in the next couple three. No, actually, we didn't even say that. We said your next, the ETA is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? We couldn't even tell you. We didn't have the information, but salesmen did not have the information to tell you guys whenever you guys would get an update, right? Because everything was just, for some reason, hidden. Speaking of hidden, we also didn't have contact with the design team when we first started. Like, nothing. We didn't even talk to the designers directly. We had to relay it through Adam, who's the other co-founder, to give it to the design team, which is bad in general, in my opinion. Anyways, so the other problem that I have with that is, like, it's sketchy on Twitter, right? We're selling everything through Twitter, right? We've told them about getting a website as well, which I'll get into in a little second. We we gotta tell customers something before, hey, it's ETA is about 3 weeks. It takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. This is just general, right? To get your first update. They're okay with that. At first, they were never giving people that for the first, like, 6 months that I was there, right? So, we also, like, decided, like, and this is probably immoral, but we kind of realized that people were paid more for high quality. So we kind of bumped our prices a bit, right? And I take responsibility for that, because I was realizing that as well. And this was not me being malicious. This was just me telling people, like, hey, there was a deal. You missed out. This is the normal price, right? So they would start paying them, and we kind of got wind of it that people would pay that much, and we decided to up the prices anyways for everything around the board. And we got greedy, right? I should say I got greedy, right? It was my fault that happened, right? And at that same point in time, guys, we also had a 6-week ETA, which people were clowning us for. There was other things to clown us for as well. One thing is that I didn't like to touch on real quick about the process itself for, like, purchasing. We would just send you guys a link tree and be like, hey, send me a screenshot when you get done paying, which I think in itself is kind of odd. You know what I mean? Because most people don't know that Fuzey was a company, right? And like I said, I'll touch on more of this stuff later. And speaking of the 6-week ETA, people are like, 6 weeks and your prices are high. Like, damn, those are two things that, one of those things I'm responsible for. I would say me and my brothers are responsible for. The other thing we have no control over. And then at that point in time, we started talking about, like, hey, we need to lower prices. This is 2025. We're talking, like, we need to. I'm sorry, this is not 2024. This is 2023, not 2024. 2024, beginning 2024, mid 2024. We're like, we need to start lowering prices, man. Like, people are clowning us for the 6-week mark, so we can't be 6 weeks and expensive. We got to pick our poison here, you know? And we were basically told that by Brad that we weren't doing our jobs. Like, you guys need to tell people that it's quality. You need to convince people. I'm like, bro, you can't convince somebody that they got to wait a long time and spend a lot of money, bro. We got to be, you know, he wasn't understanding that, bro. There's a lot of things about Brad's philosophy that is just flawed. So, like I said, get into there, you know. We also came up with the idea during that time that we need to come up with new ideas and designs to sell like new products for you guys, right? And it's just because we need to. Now it's not easy, right? But we were successful in doing that. We came up with the premium alerts, the difference between a full screen and a normal screen, the 3-tiered packs, you know, all types of things. The power of 3, you know. We were doing all of that stuff. We came up with all of that. So far we have TOS selling standards. You know, we price change, all types of things, right? And, you know, this is all kind of basically ignored, right? We also talked about having community nights. You know, we did it a few times, but then we stopped. We're not consistent. We don't execute. We don't have a clear plan for anything, right? So the other thing I also want to preface about Fuzey itself is that you guys are never talking to Brad and Adam. If it wasn't before 2020 or 2021, you guys were talking to a salesman. They will hardly get on Twitter unless they post stuff, which is the scheduled post, right? They might do stuff like the overlay stuff that, you know, reply with your name crap, you know, but overall they will never talk to you directly. And if you guys didn't notice that when we made the Discord, they didn't even say anything until I got fired, you know? So crazy stuff, right? Now there's more things, right? Like I said, lack of communications, right? We had arguments as sellers between sellers because of the documents that was put up. The documents were flawed. Prime example, one of those was the referral system, right? A lot of you guys know about the referral system. To be transparent, if you guys had the original documents, if you guys had somebody come in that did not say they were referred by you, the person that was responsible for setting up the referral did not get the money that they were owed. That was the process. It was flawed, terrible. We had so many people coming through that were obvious affiliation with the person, but since they didn't say anything, we did not get that money. So we were losing out of money. We were causing problems. We were fighting, arguing. And then with that being said, Brad wasn't replying realistically that much. And when he wanted to stop replying, he stopped. They'll read the messages, but they will stop replying, which is, I think, this was rude. There was no conflict resolution whatsoever. Not no real one, right? And they were always too busy to just hop on the call. Granted, we all work from home. They were just too busy to ever hop on a call and just have a call about anything, right? But they wanted to have pointless meetings about our Monday meetings, which they just go over the numbers that we already know or we do not care about, right? We do not give a shit about. I know how much I sold. The design process isn't changing, so what's the point of that, right? You know, I don't care about overlays, which I'll get to in a second. So the whole meeting was pointless, right? So the next thing we got to talk about, guys, is Brad's actual mindset. His mindset is so, like I said, it's just so flawed that there's no way that somebody can think like this and be successful by themselves. The first thing we had a whole conversation about, right? About like I said, he always talks about us like not selling the stuff. So one of the conversations I asked him, and I said, would you rather have 50 or 100 customers? I'm not putting a dollar sign on how much each customer spent, but which one would you rather have? Guys, he said 50. Say you'd rather have a 50 if they all spent more money. But it's like, I didn't put any context. And why would you never not want to have more customers regardless of the amount that they spent, right? We had a whole meeting about them having, you know, conversation about, you know, what our percentage of people who sold us to, right? And the majority of our people that bought, guys, were less than $1,000, right? There was a data right there. We also ran 2 deals, a Black Friday deal, which you guys crushed and bought everything, basically. We sold 10K that day, my dude, that day, you know, and product. So those 2 things alone stated that you guys would spend money if we just had less products. But they didn't take that information. They said, oh, well, maybe we should go after the bigger spenders, bro. Like, no, bro. No, absolutely not. We need to cater to the people who spend money. We need to cater to the middle class. That's the largest percentage, you know, but he didn't understand that. And he also, at one meeting, told us that He don't want to be the Walmart of designs. Now, the quality of Walmart is not great, right? But the shit'll do, right? And Walmart is a household name. People just go to Walmart sometimes just because they don't got shit else to do, right? And the worst thing that he's ever, one of the worst things he's ever said was he told another salesman, he still works there now, he's the only salesman left, that he doesn't get to say anything or his opinion does not matter until he sells. Granted, the dude had great ideas. He was saying the same thing we were saying. And at this time, we were all fighting. This is the fighting era. You know, we all agreed on that same thing, you know, but the dude was like, Brad just told him to, you know, basically shut up until you start making me money. Right-handed guy, bro. Right-handed guy. He basically said that, G. And I ain't got no reason to lie to y'all, bro. I really don't. Some of y'all might think I'm bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm upset. Very upset, you know? You know, like it's just kind of crazy, you know, like, and that dude was only 2-3 months. He was 2-3 months in. He didn't really make money because there was nothing to be made, right? Like I told y'all. But to mull over, like we had a refund process. To our knowledge, to the seller's knowledge, any refund that happened the week after. So like I said, our work week was Monday through Sunday, right? So if a refund happened on a Tuesday and we got paid, we're not reliable for it, right? But if somebody refunds during the week, then we take it away from our total, blah blah blah, right? My brother literally got money taken away from him and withheld from him. He started the week in negative, because he owed the money from a person that refunded 2 weeks, that we refunded 2 weeks after. Right-handed guy. Y'all don't believe me? I could have him get on a call and tell me. He don't gotta lie. We don't gotta lie about this stuff, bro. Real shit. And I'll post whatever proof that I can because they removed me off from all chats. But I have proof about certain things, bro. You know, they're not very good people, in my opinion. You know? And another thing that, you know, about the pricing is that we were trying to get it changed. And speaking of that, we ended up getting it changed Thursday, like 2 Thursdays ago, I think. One last Thursday or something. And 2 people purchased. Right? 2 people purchased. And basically I had told them like, hey, we need to do something for these customers, you know, like this purchase. And they basically told me we can't do nothing for them because we would have to do it for everybody else. When in reality, if we had to do it for multiple people that purchase within the week, that's just good business, right? They said no. And then another guy messaged me and he found out the pricing, right? That was changed. And they basically told him no, and he refunded. The other guy that purchased didn't know the pricing, right? The change. Even though I put it in the Discord, he didn't know it changed. And I didn't have the authority to go and do anything right? So, yeah. It was not good at all, bro. It was not good at all. I'm looking over here because I'm just looking at myself. That's my other monitor, right? But when it's all said and done, you know, like my main thing is you guys have to understand that I didn't quit. I didn't get fired because I'm just incompetent, right? Or I didn't just get fired because, you know, I did not do my job. I didn't sign a document that didn't make sense, right? And they didn't like that. They wanted to have control of the situation, right? But more things that I'm gonna talk about is literally the thing that y'all see the most, overlays, right? Overlays is our direct competitor created by the people that hired me. Y'all want me to say it again? Overlays is a direct competitor to the person that hired me. So Brad and Adam decided to create overlays, which they thought would be innovative, which in a sense it is, right? They thought it would be innovative to do said thing and it would make them a lot of money. Not thinking about the salesman, right? The reason I say that is because you could get pretty much the same quality for literally the fraction of a price. Y'all know our prices are relatively high. $400 for a stream pack now, right? $400 for a stream pack. When you could go on overlays, you do the free trial, create you everything for free. Yes, it's not fully custom, but you just need your branding. You don't care about that. Change it a couple colors, right? You don't need all that. You do it for free. You could do it for the homies, right? If all y'all just get a free trial, y'all can do it for the homies, right? So that in itself, it didn't make sense, you know? And on top of that, and y'all could, if some of y'all could vouch, overlays, they don't reply to anything on overlays. Their communication is poor. Some of y'all have put many tickets in, and y'all come to the DMs on their Twitter, which they, like I said, they don't see, and they say, y'all be like, hey, y'all keep charging me. I keep getting charged on overlays. One dude said he got charged $130. Imagine that's your last 130, or it just puts you in a negative because somebody didn't reply to your ticket. Brad is in charge of that. Yes, Brad is in charge of that. There's multiple tickets. Multiple. Lots of them. Lots of tickets of people saying that. Being charged. I wouldn't use the site. Me personally. If I'm going to keep getting charged, if I wanted to cancel and I can't even cancel it, you know? So yeah, it was to push away the custom business, bro. That's what it is. It's meant to replace sellers. So, and then all you see it on our timeline. Our marketing technique is just posting stuff on Twitter. They don't pay anybody. They don't want to do anything for free, realistically, for anybody, unless it directly benefits them. Which I get, it's a business, but like sometimes do stuff at the kind of your heart, and the business will come back. That's why I at first I loved it, because I'm like, bro, I can help people. Like, people don't know how to do certain things. I could help them. Y'all know, I help people set things up for free. I don't ask for anything in return. I get people as big as, you know, I don't even, like, I don't charge you for a setup guide, nothing. I don't. Because what the fuck? They wanted to do that at one point, bruh. They wanted to literally charge y'all for setup. And I'm like, no. The fuck am I charging them for? They just made me money. What the fuck? I'm gonna charge you an additional $100 to set up because of my time. Yes, my time is very valuable, but I'm using a great use of my time helping people. It was crazy, man. It was crazy, dog. You know, and there's a lot of things. I'm gonna get on a couple more things, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. But thank y'all if y'all made it this far in the video, man, for real. So the next thing I'm gonna talk about is the designs. Designs itself. It's quality, high quality, great. The process is just broken, bro. You know, it's broken. You know, it's really broken. If you guys ask us for an update, and we ask them, Adam will jump in and be like, they'll get an update when they have it, or it's in progress. They should have an update in a couple of days. Well, A, that's not a real answer. And B, why am I getting attacked basically for asking an update for somebody that they paid their shit for? You'd be mad as fuck if they decided to refund. They don't care about y'all like that, bro. It's not hard to implement a process where y'all can get a timely update, or A, the designers is like, hey, bro, you should have an update really soon before y'all ask. Imagine if you had to email Amazon every time you wanted an update on your package, or FedEx. They don't do that. They just tell you the timeline. Hey, it just landed in Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, it just landed in Cape Girardeau. Oh, it just landed in Cape Town. Whatever. I know that's in Africa, but you get what I'm saying. And another thing is they use AI. No, I'm not bashing people that use AI, because it still takes skill to use the tool. But on the timeline, they have lied to y'all. Adam specifically lied to y'all, saying that we didn't use AI. We use AI. At one point, we had a whole meeting about how to use Midjourney. They wanted us salesmen to use Midjourney to create a sketch for y'all to send y'all. Yes, we had to be designers at one point too, bro. Marketers, designers, fucking PR people, everything. Customer service reps, everything. We had to do everything, bro. Now, the customers. I love y'all, man. Everybody that has ever bought from me specifically, if y'all seen that wolf emoji with the M at one point, that's me. If y'all seen D in the inbox, that's me. If y'all seen West in the inbox, that's me. I appreciate y'all if y'all ever had a conversation with me, wasn't a dickhead, and especially if you bought and you followed me on Twitter and talked to me. I appreciate y'all, man. Real shit. Like, I do. I appreciate y'all. But I'm sorry that y'all, if y'all ever decide to go buy from, y'all will not get a good experience. I will tell y'all that right now. Without the salesman, y'all will not get any kind of updates or talk to or anything like that until they're ready for you to buy, right? And even then, maybe not, right? So, speaking of the customer experience, right? Some of y'all have had experiences where y'all were scared to voice y'all opinions, or tell that y'all didn't like something in case, you know, because you always met with immediately or ignored, you know, met with immediate like, oh well, this is the reason why this we can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all, I hear y'all, I saw that, and I voiced that. Like, we can't be telling people they gotta spend this much money and they don't get they get one revision per preview. The fuck is you talking to me? You telling me if I spend 10 bands or 2 bands, $1,000, $500, that I only get one revision? Are you drunk? Give me my fucking money back, bro. That's what I would have said, me personally. You're not finna tell me that I can only get one revision because of your process that's extremely broken. I don't want to name drop people, and if I say your name, and it's just a testimony, and I'm gonna have to say it. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to be explicit, and I'm sorry. And if y'all don't like it, I guess you can sue me. You ain't gonna get much money. I got a job. So, shout my boy Morpheus, great dude. Shout out Morpheus. It took me a year to convince these dudes, these two greedy people, to do a stinger that he requested the time that he was doing the designs 5 times. He requested it 5 times for them to do it a certain way. And they ignored him. And they didn't do it. So I had to convince them to do it for free. I damn near paid for the stinger myself because it wasn't done. And I'm not even bullshitting. I would have did that for Morpheus. I'd have did that for him. There's a lot of other customers that I can't remember off the top of my head that have had piss poor experiences because they were told during the design process something wasn't be able to done, even though it's doable, or the prices changed and they couldn't do anything. Uncivil Queen, all they have to do is hop in a call with her, and they wouldn't do that. Their design team is too precious for them. They don't want the design because they don't understand English. Motherfucker, guess what? We're in America. 90% of our customer base is American. They're gonna speak English. Stop coddling them. Stop coddling the design team. Let them be their own people, not robots. They can hop on a call. I don't care if they haven't made no money yet. We don't make money for hopping in calls. Only sales. So yes, we take time out of our day to make money. I mean, to help the customer out, even if the person may not buy. So yes, the design team can hop on a call with us. Or hop on a call to a person that's literally in the queue saying, hey, can we hop on a call, please? Why are we so against it? Well, not we. Why are they so against it? Because they coddle. They think their time is worth more than yours and your money. That's what it is, bottom line. They're not that busy, y'all. They can't be that busy. They can't. They don't have anything else besides Fuzey. They don't, and it's damn near failing. You know? But I'm gonna say this as well. You know, the prices were too high, which is why I heard y'all. I went to battle for y'all, bro. I'm like, this needs to be happening. This needs to go down. This is why I made a full document, and I could show proof that I made the document of what we should do, and it could timestamp it as well, right? That I wanted these prices changed for y'all because I heard y'all. Like, I heard all the people that in my like, man, this is too expensive. You know, I couldn't afford this. I barely afforded the first time. I'm like, okay, let me hear. What would you think? I heard y'all. And I do my best for over the 2 years, and they finally did it. Like I said, they did the most bogus shit to the 2 people, and they will continue to do bogus shit like that because they don't care about y'all dollars. One person I would like to talk about too is Thygos. Sorry, bro. I'm really sorry. I apologize on my behalf before, gang. Like, I'm sorry that you had a terrible experience, right? And they still didn't. The design team don't work the weekends, so on Friday, if you approve your files, you ain't getting them bitches to Thursday because they process is so screwed up. You request a change on Monday, you may not get another one till next week because the process is so screwed up. Because without the design, not the design team, but the sales team relaying that message, it never gets looked at, bro. Or until they want to, right? The whole design process is flawed, bro. I go deep in detail about that, and but right now, no. But I want y'all to understand this too. And it spans about 6-7 months, bro. Around 8 people dipped out of Fuzey, stopped working after expressing their concerns, and they were unheard, ignored, or nothing changed, right? People just was in and out. There have been a total of about 25-ish sellers, right? That have came through Fuzey and that worked with Fuzey. And you know, they've all quit. It's one left. It's one left. So 24 people. They say they fired them, but people really quit. They fired them like they fired me, right? They basically wouldn't do what they wanted them to do, and they didn't give them time to. First of all, and second of all, it's just like they're shady. So the next thing, people really like don't make money, like we just said. Like in a span of like I said, of the 6 years they've been here, they've had a total of 25 sellers. Like they don't have any actual growth. They have achievements, as my brother put it. They have achievements. Achievements such as you hit 30K, 25K. Achievements such as, hey, we are finally getting this market, but they're not growing, bro. Settlement is not making that much money. And I hope that What's the Name makes more money, but I don't think he will. Right? I just don't think he will make more money because of the way that they are at, bro. So, and like I said, I sold proof forever. Now, the last thing that I'm gonna say, and I know this video is long, and so I appreciate y'all for staying in here with me. Last couple things is how much I've made the company. I have made the company over $775,000 in revenue, and I in my pocket it was around $175,000 that I've made in 2.5 years. So that's what, like 60,000 a year. So, and that's taxes. That's average. That's pre-tax. So, and now I'm the exception to the rule, right? And they only want full-time sellers, right? And I've made the biggest sale in there, which is about 25K, which is to a gambling person. I've been the most consistent. I average around 4 or 5K. Well, I did. And yeah, bro. So I have done a lot for the company. I've had my flaws. I've had my back and forths. I've did some stuff, but ultimately, like the average, if I'm at 2K, right? The next person is probably at 500 on a week. Maybe, right? Maybe. Like I said, I've made them 775K. The next person, which is my brother, is at 160-ish. Again, that's 160. He's at 160. And mind you, he took a break. He took a break from Fuzey because he was doing other things, right? And that's the next person available. 160K. So that's what I'm gonna leave y'all with, bro. The very last thing, bro. The reason I'm so upset, I have a family of 5, bro, and I don't want any guys' sympathy or anything like that. I just want you guys to understand the magnitude of the situation. I'm a family of 5. About this time, probably rent's due, right? I'm the only income. So if you guys also have anybody that I need a job immediately, bro. Please, I need money in the pocket, but I would just say, be careful. Be careful with them. Be careful if you purchase from them. Be careful if you ever think about buying from them. In my opinion, they're just not good people. I put my morals over that money. And I mean, I guess I'm paying the price for it, but be careful, guys.